everyone, welcome to Arch's Garage for those of you that are new, and of course welcome back to anybody that's been around. We have a pretty cool, later model-ish Craftsman. These are pretty nice machines, and this one's a little bit in rough shape. It was thrown out. We got it. We got our hands on it. This was electric. We're going to get rid of the electric. I'm not going there. Right, so we're going to get rid of that. In this video, we're going to kind of get this machine going again, and I've cleaned it already. I've pressure washed it. It's been in the garage, so it's a little bit dusty. We're going to go over the engine. We're going to make sure, validate the engine, that the engine is at least serviceable and we can get it running. And then if it's not, well, then we'll have to go from there. I don't know. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to go through the drivetrain. So stick around for that. I will most likely put this in chapters, so you can kind of check the description and see where you want to kind of be in it. So let's dig into it. Okay, let's do a compression test. I pulled the engine bail back because the cable was cut. So it looked like it was in good shape, but you don't know why things happen. I don't know. This piece looks damaged. We got to replace it. I have another one. This is the wing for the automatic choke. So that's damaged. We'll throw that out. I got another one. Just general inspection. Always start off with that. Let's take some of our solvent with the transmission fluid and get that in there. And we'll spin it, and then we'll check for... How's that feel? Now, there shouldn't be any blade on it. Feels okay. You don't hear anything. Let's get a diaper, a puke rag. Just spin it real quick and listen. Feels good. Let's look at spark. I'll just yell it out to you. Let's see. Oh, good spark. Oh, let me show you. It's not great, but it'll run. We're a little over 50 pounds. Okay, now let's tighten up these head bolts before we forget. Now, they're almost always loose on the exhaust side. That one's tight. That one needed a little bit. Now, these gall in, right, from oxidation and everything, so putting a torque wrench on won't do anything. And I always say that because it's true. If you want to torque it, take them out, clean everything up, put a new gasket on, torque it. I warn you, a lot of times, especially when they're tight like this, they break. All it takes is one, and you're done. So this one just needed, a little bit of tightening, and that's it. Now, another thing before we forget, while we're here, let's tighten this up. Okay, this intake tube, it's a very common problem. See how loose that was? Look at how much I tightened that. Okay? And if it leaks, it'll be a vacuum leak, and it'll make you think your carburetor's not right. Ah, this needed to be tightened. Okay? Well, the magneto needed it. What do they call that thing again? The magnetron. That's what Briggs calls it. All right, now we'll pull the carburetor out. I almost forgot, guys. We got to take a peek under here. All right, we got to see. Oh, the key looks good. Always got to check the key, because I don't know these machines. Yeah, I'll get you in for a closer look. Hold on. All right, let's get this off. So we know the motor so far seems to be pretty good. Now, I don't tell people what size things are, generally speaking. I assume that you have a kit, right? It would be crazy to go out and buy like one socket at a time. So this is a little beat up. So I think we're going to replace that. I just took the tank outside, cleaned it good. I usually wash it with a little detergent. They get pressure washed on the outside, but there was junk on the inside. And put a little detergent in if it needs it. I rinse it with the hose when the hose is available. And then I blow it with compressed air. Then I put a little bit of gas in it, swash it around, swish it around, and blow it out again. And it's outside drying in the sun because it's black. Let's bring this over to the work table. Just give that a little twist, and let's see what we got. It's still dirty. It's kind of dirty. Let's just give it a bath, and then I'll be back in a minute. We'll crack it open. I don't know. This is the newer, cheaper, lightweight carbs. All right, I'll be right there. Stand by. Let's crack it open. Well, doesn't feel too bad to start off with. You know, the first sign is this main jet won't turn. Oh, that's broken. That's seal. It doesn't usually happen. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. A little bit of water in there. All right, let's clean it up. You get a little bit more suds on it. I'm going to poke it out. Yeah, this is a lot of debris in there. Look. See it all? All over the place. So that's what's wrong with it. This is coming off. I'm going to clean this good too. Right? Yeah. Now for that, I always take my just simple wire brush and just go around it. Probably shaking the table, but you guys get the idea. All right, I'm going to poke this thing out. Get in here with the little screwdriver too. Yeah, I definitely needed it. Oh yeah. That's plugged. Look at that. That whole vent right there. That might be a problem. I'm going to put this in some lacquer thinner. Just a little bit. And this guy, I think all we need to do with this is just a little bit of Scotch-Brite. This feels good. I usually tug it a little. Because if it's going to snap, but it's real pliable, we'll put a little of our tranny fluid mix on that. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in that. It's coming clean. Poke it just in case. I think this one we need something a little small, but let's just get in that. It's like a step. Yeah, there's a little bit of, might have been something in that, considering how much junk. I need a thin one. Where's my thin one? There it is. It looks good. Yeah, there was junk in there. We'll blow it. All right. I'm going to blow it with some low pressure air. I always blow away from the table because this way I'm not going to blow my goodies to Kingdom Come. How does that look? That looks good. All right, let's put it back together. It feels good. I usually just tend to go over with my thumbnail a little bit. And we'll put on some of this. It's got the, you can use 2-stroke is good, WD-40, but that's got tranny fluid in it. which is just excellent at cleaning stuff and freshening up seals. That feels fine. Let's hang it. Okay. So you guys can see. So right back there, slide it right in. Now, I gotta go find a gasket for this, which I should have one. Now, usually 30 thousandths at sea level is about as big as you'd want to go, and these small, I got this from Amazon a while back, but they're small. They're about 28 or so, and it feels perfect. It's going right in there. So I'm just going to blow that. All right, guys, we're done. I'm just going to go and find that gasket and put it back together, and we'll get ready to put it on a little bit. All done. If you want, put a little lubricant, and this has the tranny fluid in it, and make sure these things are working good. There's usually a little like felt or sponge or something in there that helps hold some lubricant on the shaft. That's done. Oh wait, we'll put it. Now I just sharpened up these blades, and I use my flapper disc on my angle grinder. And I just always drive over the top just to get rid of any, nicks as best I can. Nice thing about the flapper disc is when you get a rusty blade, right, you can kind of polish out the blade. And I sharpen it, and then just while the grinder disc is decelerating, I go over the top because it's hardened steel and it'll chip. I'm going to wipe them off, and we'll just put a little paint on them. It's getting old, getting a little bit beat, but even the beat ones still are really good at it. This one I actually double up on these because these are kind of cheap. They don't fit right in a grinder, but Amazon cheapies, right? I don't know if that's 40 grit, 60 grit, 80 grit, something like that would be fine. And again, it depends upon what I'm doing and what I have left over, right? I always burn up whatever I have. Okay, so I got a blade all ready. We want to just make sure that's clean. And that ends that. All right, I want to put a little bit more lubricant in here while I can get to it. On that cable, a little bit in these bearings, and I got to put this puppy on, right? Because I always take that apart to clean it out. Now, the batteries go in here, and I'm not putting it back, so I took all that stuff out of the way. So I'm going to go do that, and then we're going to mount the blade. Beautiful 22-inch heavy-duty blade too. That's a big, thick one. All right, good, done. So that was in nice shape. Actually, that adapter was actually coming off, which is, that's good, right? You can take it off and put some oil on it, some grease on it, preferably no seas. But we're done here. Like I said, I just want to put a little bit more lubricant in there. Try to get some of my chain wax up in that. Do all my greasy stuff now, and then as part of the transmission, guys, I come around here and I spray on the other side too, and I'll show you that again in a bit. Okay, so I got a new one. The other one wasn't too bad, but I picked up another one. A little bit of motor oil, just a little bit of regular motor oil, clean. Make sure it's clean. And drop it in the slot. All right, tighten it up. It should be able to move. Okay, good. Make sure it moves. Now we got our spring. I always take these off beforehand, right? Before I start pressure washing, because they'll go flying. Make sure it's moving. Now this here needs to move. Now we want to put a little oil on that. There's a bushing in there. All right, it'll burn off. Just drizzle some oil down on that. All right, because those bushings get beat, and it's okay. It'll carbonize. That's fine. We'll put a little up here too. We'll get to that in a minute. We're gonna put chain wax on the cable. We gotta go do the cable now. Okay, and now this is adjustable. and you adjust it. This one looks like it probably needs some adjustment. So you want to make sure that the throttle blade opens all the way, and it's not really. So we're going to just bend this out a little bit because they get damaged. Yeah, see, now it's open all the way. Because you don't want any deflection. There you go. All right, and that's what I usually do. And then if I'm having a problem, I know it's open all the way, but if I'm having a problem where it's over choking, right, I can adjust it. But basically, with it coming out like this, and this goes all the way forward, and this is now the choke is fully off, it won't over choke. It shouldn't, but it may under choke a little. But I find that this seems to work, so that's my advice on a preliminary adjustment for the choke, for the automatic choke. Now we could start painting it now, but not yet, right? I want to get a cable, so I got to go find one. All right, now just a couple of tips now, because somebody cut it. This is the original cable, right? And somebody cut it, so this part here with the eyelet is actually the engine bail, engine kill, so it's been cut. And the other part is just a bag door. We're going to remove that. Now, I replaced the cable, and of course I'm here in the shop, right? I have a lot of machines, but the cheapest way I found and most consistent on these machines, the one with the little hook, this is an MTD. You're going to find these on a lot of the really inexpensive machines. And on these machines, you can either drill a hole, or in this case, this one has the hole, and we pull it back, right? And you can tell because it's got that long exposed cable. It comes down here, and I'll show you. Okay, so it actuates it very nice. And then I'm going to remove the. Whoop! I just jumped in. I'm going to remove the bag door latch thing. Get rid of that. Right. This thing's not a super high class machine. We just want to get it working, get it cleaned up, get it nice, and restore it to service. Right. We're not trying to mint it out because you're going to spend some money on these cables. Right. If you want to order these, they're expensive. Especially if you're going to replace the bag door latch and all that. All right, I'm not doing that. All right, time to put the hat on. Well, I washed them out because they get really dirty, but we got to get some lubricant in here because they get stuck and sticky. So a little bit of chain wax, and then there's the spring pocket right there. We want to get some in there. This is about the best stuff. If you don't use oil, I used to try to use that, but now I've gone to this because this is going to wax up and pull it all the way through. It's already getting a little sticky. I just keep, bunching up on the cord. There we go, and hit the end. All right, and just wipe off any excess. I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to probably paint the motor, and then that's it for tonight. Okay, because it's getting late, it's Friday, and if I stop here and paint the motor, we can come back tomorrow, and we can deal with transmission and taking care of a few other things, and then we could do a test too, right? And I'll probably do the test before we do the transmission. So be back in a bit.
The next morning.
So it's got water in it. I should have mentioned, I usually do, you always check the oil when you're doing your engine diagnostic, but I knew it had some junk in here. So the plan is we're going to let that druise and drain. We're going to put some good used oil in, and people have yelled at me, "What are you putting, you loser? You putting used oil?" Yeah, if you keep some good used oil, not the super black crap, not this, right? Something that's decent. I try to get it from good sources. I used to get some from my daughter's car, but she keeps having the dealer do it, which is, that's like 4,000 miles of synthetic. But yeah, if you can, maybe your own vehicles, right? I do my van once a year. It has like no miles on it. It's synthetic or semi-synth. That's what we're going to put in. We're going to put in some good used oil. We're going to start it and run it like that. And if everything runs good, and we know we got a good motor, we'll change the oil again because we got to rinse this junk out. And if you just put fresh oil in there, if that's all you have, that's fine. But it's gonna damage the oil, right? It's going to contaminate it. So we need a rinse. We'll be back. We'll do a test in a bit. All right, what do you think? Clean, gap to 28. All right, it's a rainy, stormy day and windy too. All we need to do is pull it. It's automatic choke, so it should just fire. We got our used oil in there. Let's let it run. We'll check it out. There we go. We need to talk the M adjustment. We're going to do that in a little bit. Alright, we'll do that in a little bit. Let's let it run, get hot. Be careful. It's percolating fuel. So that's very flammable. And I'm getting that oil out. All right, it's still hot, so it's not really a good idea to do this so hot, but I put 10 ounces of fuel in it, and I ran it just about dry, so it's warm, it's hot. All right, it's calmed down. It was percolating. It was percolating water out of it, especially in the vent tube. It gets hung up in the baffle of the positive crankcase ventilation, the PCV valve assembly. So it's done, right? Here's a tip. Now these covers are designed with this extra cutout here, so that the sail can move, right? And this cover, I guess, was sitting a little bit low, and it was getting stuck. The sail was getting stuck right here. So if it went to push the choke off and it went too far, or you're banging maybe the machine around, right, it was getting stuck, and that was what was happening outside. So I just grabbed a pair of pliers and I just bent that up a little bit, and now it should be free. Now it's cold right now, so basically the choke is on, right, and it should be free to move. No, you're now free to move about the cabin. Okay, so I've already cleaned these. Now I can't stress enough, right? This was in good shape, but I used my pressure washer, and I use a turbo nozzle. But whatever you use to clean in here, you're going to need to get this all clean, right? That's part of what goes bad. It gets bound up. And then, of course, when I was pressure washing it, I did in here as well. So, and then I went back and I put a little bit of oil, which I mentioned, I think, in the beginning. A little bit of oil on everything, because you can see the little bit of water that creates rust. Now, for lubrication, I can't show you every type, right? I can only do that a little bit at a time. This is what I have on my table. But let's just put our finger on this, lift up this key. Hold on, I'm going to try to do it without popping it. And having it take off on me. This one's in good shape. It doesn't want to come. Usually I can just do it with a screwdriver, but let's see. Yeah, let's get a screwdriver on it. Come here, you. There we go. Put your finger on it because it'll go boing. There we go. Okay. Now, we want to clean in here. All right, now that pin comes out. But a couple of things to do is in this bearing, we want to get some chain wax. because it, like, again, it's a wax, so, but it's going to leave it all up in the adjuster. And try to get it behind and into this area here and into the shaft. And then to finish up, just a little bit of good grease. And a lot of people say, oh, grease is no good. I've seen studies on greases. Greases are important because they actually hold the dirt. And you say, well, it holds the dirt. Right, yeah, but it holds the dirt away from the surfaces, that it embeds the dirt in to the grease and suspends it. And of course, the last thing, make sure that this is clean. And the last thing is that we can put a little bit of grease on this or chain wax. And that's all we need for here. Now, I've tried solid lubes, right? Dry lubes. And the one that I've tried is the common graphite. It's just too thin. So what I don't have, they were out of stock on, was a moly lube, which would be much, much better. But in lieu of that, a little bit of grease or the chain wax. Okay, now if you wanted to, you could put a little here. But it won't do you any good. You can put a little bit on this, right? It'll keep it from rotting. Also here too, because water always gets in a little bit, so that it creates a wax and a barrier, and it'll keep it from rusting. And it's 9/16, so we'll just buzz this back on. Now, I've already taken the liberty on these with the pull-up style. They get jammed real bad. And so I always start off with some kind of a lubricant underneath here, spray it underneath there, oil, some kind of penetrant, and then follow up with a chain wax or something. And what you'll see when you pull it up, because they get so much junk in there, so you may have to start off with something that is more of a penetrating lube. But now it's working. And again, the wax is nice because, well, it kind of dries, right? It's like your chain, right? And here as well. I've already put some on. Getting to the end of the can. Let me pull on the handle. Okay. The belt's in good shape, American stuff. And another place to lube is underneath here, where that seal is, right, for this bearing. And then that's it. That's all you got to do. And make sure, again, you may have to, I really tried to clean in here really well. So you can see, I'm going to blow that out. It was bad, right? And the pressure washer really helps because these things get so fouled up. And again, dry lube is great, but you've got to get it moving. And dry lube isn't going to let you get it moving. You need some kind of a lubricant in there that you can really get in there and move around. And move it back all the way through the whole range of motion. And it should work just like that, right? It should be nice and easy to move. And that's it. So we've serviced this part. I'm going to do the other wheel. We also have to do the same thing to the back wheels. We want to spray these up good. Get in here good on the back wheels as well, the whole pivot system. So we'll just jack it back, jack it up in the rear, and we'll do the same thing in a minute. I'm going to do the other side. Now, another thing you can do is you pull the wheels down all the way with it jacked up like this, and you can use chain wax or oil. Right, but this stuff works really well. This is the liquid wrench. It's no sling chain cable lube. And if these things are really stuck, if you can get it down into this position, right, and you put that on there and pull it a few times, it will regenerate and revive it. This is in really good shape. And this stuff will dry up, it'll wax up, but you need some kind of an oily lubricant. Now, you can use oil too, but you really want to follow up with something that's going to kind of wax up. Once you get it moving, penetrant, whatever, sometimes they just don't want to pull and they don't want to go. All right, so this one's ready. All right, and yeah, there's a little dirt there. It's ready. All right, I'm going to do the rear. What do you think, guys? I think this thing's beautiful. It's all done. We've gone over it completely. Right? How can you argue with that? It's just a beautiful machine. We did have to disable a few of the key features. Electric start. This is a really nice machine. Electric start and the bag door, right? The bag door release mechanism thing. But that was it. And I put a little different cable on. This is like a cable you would find on a lot of these new depot, MTD, whatever, right? Built machines. But it works fine, right? It's a real cable, and I have a number of those in stock because I part those machines out a lot. So, where the benefits of this thing is that it really just needed TLC. We got fresh oil in it now. I got to run it one more time, but it's done. It's all done. Everything is gone over. We went through the drive system, and that was in pretty good shape. Everything just needed a lot of cleaning. I really had to take the baffle out and everything apart to get this thing. It was bad. And we also saw that in the oil, we had water infiltration into the engine. That probably had been there for a while. We took care of that, did a double rinse, as it were. We did a rinse with some used oil in the engine. I ran it for, got it hot. We adjusted the engine RPMs. And that smoke that you saw coming out isn't smoke. That was steam. And that water was caught up in the PCV valve area. But the bag I cleaned previously, right? That was really dirty. I don't know if I have footage of all of that. If I do, I'll put it somewhere in the video, just real quick. It's beautiful. It's an easy walk, right? So that's nice. A lot of people like that. And as you pull that trigger, it goes a little bit faster. We have the sort of the easy adjusters. Those are all selling points. These are heavy-duty wheels. It's a high wheel in the back. That's another feature. It is very heavy construction, front-wheel drive. It's an adjustable handle, right? I went in and I broke. Usually they put, like on a lot of these wing nuts, they put a little bit of blue lock on there. Broke that off, put a lubricant on it so somebody can come in and turn those wing nuts and adjust the handle. And that's it, guys. We're all done. This is another one for the books. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been commenting and hitting that like button. It will build the channel together, and do the like and subscribe, of course. But yeah, I mean, we're building the channel together, and it's getting there slowly. And again, I really appreciate it, and I get to do this kind of stuff. This is one of the ones that I really wait for. I do a lot of really cheap machines as well, but when I get to some of these, from my perspective, right, I wouldn't mind owning this, right? Would you guys? I'll see you guys in the next one.